I saw my life flash before my eyes, burn on through the night like a star on fire. It was just a daydream, I was only hoping.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today is going to be my official weight loss update on my journey to Wonderland as I work towards losing over 50 pounds. So my current goal right now is to average 10,000 steps a day. And even though I did surpass that on a few days this week, I did miss my weekly average coming in at 9,825 steps. Today I'm going to show you my weekend after not feeling so great about my previous 2 weekends. And of course, I'm going to share with you my weigh-in update as well. So I do find that during the week I do a lot better with staying on track, both with getting my steps and with what I'm eating, although there is definitely a lot of room for improvement in what I'm eating for sure. But weekends, I tend to be just thrown off track, I guess, because everything changes and the routine changes. I feel like I don't really have much routine on the weekends and everything is just kind of like chaotic. I get overwhelmed, I get stressed feeling, and when I'm stressed, I tend to eat more or just things that I necessarily shouldn't be eating if I'm trying to lose weight. Because I'm also making meals for other people a little bit differently and partaking. So it's just like, it's a hard thing for me to try and navigate on the weekends right now. But I do know that if I want to be losing the kind of weight that I want to lose, like 2 pounds per week, then I'm going to need to be able to figure that out for myself and have different meals made for myself than what my family eats if I want to actually see those goals come to fruition. So this past weekend definitely was a little bit different than my previous 2 weekends because this weekend was just me, my boyfriend, and my daughter. And honestly, the majority of it was me and my daughter. So it was a lot easier for me to navigate meals and everything because I'm just cooking for myself and my daughter. So it's a lot easier to cook 2 separate meals on a constant basis than it is to cook for a family of 5. And I just find that I do a lot better when it's just her and I. So I need to be able to work on that just in general because, I mean, I think it's hard when you have a family that is like a blended, split family that we see each other kind of on and off. So like every other weekend kind of thing. So it gets a little bit like hard for me to adapt, I think. But it's definitely something that needs work beyond just like how it affects my diet and my routine and stuff. So, but we had a good weekend when it came to getting my steps, or at least on the Saturday. I did get over 12,000 steps on Saturday, which was awesome. I love when I surpass my goal for a day. And that is largely due to because of how much walking I have to do, obviously. So on Saturdays, I take my daughter to piano lessons and it takes me about 35 minutes to walk there, 35 minutes to walk back. And I usually pull her in the wagon the entire time, so I have some extra resistance and stuff, so it helps burn a few more calories, I think, than just simply walking. But then after coming back from taking her to her piano lesson, we have just over an hour between coming back and having to take her to her next class, which is tumbling. And I have to make lunch, do dishes, all that kind of stuff. I don't always do the dishes within that time frame, but it's just like a lot to have to do in one small time frame. So I gave in, I guess you could say, on Saturday and had some leftover pizza for my lunch, which is probably not the best thing to be eating trying to lose weight. However, it was only 2 slices of pizza. That was from a medium pizza, so they weren't huge slices, but I don't know. Just part of my brain is just like, you shouldn't be eating pizza, you're trying to lose weight. But I'm also trying not to restrict myself too much because if I restrict myself, I end up eating worse than if I just let myself have like a couple slices of pizza here and there. But then I still struggle mentally with being okay with it. So I don't know, it's a process. And then after my pizza, I was still so hungry because in the morning, I think I showed you, I didn't really eat like the biggest breakfast. I had a single piece of toast with an egg on it because mornings are hard for me when it comes to eating. It's not something that I do usually. Like I usually wake up, I have my coffee, I have my first meal around 10, so can't do that on Saturdays. But anyways, yeah, I had my toast with my egg, 2 slices of pizza for lunch, and then I was just so hungry at that point still. Like my stomach just felt, it still felt hungry. So I ended up making myself a chicken Caesar wrap. But then after that wrap, I was like, okay, now I'm good. And after lunch, I took my daughter to her tumbling class and got more steps in. And then we came back, kind of relaxed for a little bit. And when it came down to dinner, because of my lunch, I didn't really have an appetite come dinner time. So I decided I wasn't going to partake in dinner because it doesn't really make sense to me to eat if I'm not hungry, especially if I'm trying to lose weight. I think that myself and maybe others too fall into the pattern of eating because it's supposed to be mealtime versus eating because my body says that I need food right now. So I decided not to eat dinner that night. I did kind of nibble a little bit as I made dinner for my boyfriend and my daughter. Like I made them some mashed potatoes as part of the side for their dinner that they had, and I did have a couple spoonfuls of mashed potatoes, so that was my dinner, I guess you could say. And I also ended up having like another coffee that night, I believe. And then Sunday was just a hard day for me. For some reason, I had a really hard time just emotionally that day. I don't know what happens to me because I can't find a single thing that really would trigger me to feel this way, but something flips inside me and suddenly I am just anxious and irritable and everything is getting under my skin, and as much as I want to feel better, it just doesn't really go away. But I think, if I'm really being honest, it's because I feel like I don't have as much control over my day when everybody else is home. And it sounds horrible, I know, but I just feel like I'm having to do things around other people, and it makes it harder for me than just kind of getting stuff done around the house without any interruptions. So if somebody wants to ask me a question, especially for my daughter, I love her, but you know, having a 5-year-old, they ask a lot of questions and they want a lot of attention, which is great, but when you're trying to get things done, it can become a bit of an issue. And yeah, I got really anxious feeling yesterday, which was not fun. But I find I'm also really kind of struggling still with my water intake. That has been a big theme throughout my entire weight loss journey through years now, is struggling with water. I find that putting like water enhancer in my waters does help, and you can tell by the color of this I put quite a bit in because I'm either like I want straight just nothing in my water, or I want it to taste like kind of like juice. So the middle ground is not really for me. And I do find that it helps me with drinking water, but I'm still not drinking enough water. I don't know what it is, I just don't do it. And I feel like if I had maybe a bigger water bottle, maybe that would make it easier. I don't know, because sometimes having to like refill this thing constantly throughout the day, I don't know. It just slips my mind, and I definitely don't get enough hydration. But it is something I'm trying to work on every day and trying to find little hacks like the water enhancers and stuff to help me out. But you know what? I might as well have some water right now because we're talking about it, and I filled this up this morning and it is already 1:30 and this is all I've had, so. I also had a very salty, my lips probably all wet. I also had a really salty soup for lunch. I had like a Campbell's chunky pepper steak and potato soup for lunch. Very hearty, very filling. Lots of protein in this soup, which is awesome, but also packed with sodium. So I'm gonna need to drink extra water to kind of like battle that through my system. So I really gotta stay on top of the water today and get a handle on that. I think I'm supposed to drink like 3 liters and it has just not been happening. So very disappointed in myself for that, but I am working on it, and so many goals to work towards right now. But yeah, Sunday was just a day. It was also Father's Day. I made my boyfriend a nice Father's Day breakfast. We made bacon and sausage and eggs, and I think there's waffles involved, but that might have been just for my daughter. I did a slightly altered version for myself because I didn't want to have too many carbs, but I did have some, I think, apple slices that I did not show. I had scrambled eggs with tomato, and I had some bacon, and then I also had a hash brown. So I guess I did kind of have the carbs, but it was only 1 hash brown. It wasn't like a big portion of carbs. And like I said, I'm trying not to completely restrict things from me so that I don't feel deprived of certain things and then end up overeating on those things as a result of that, which is just going to be worse for me in the long run, obviously. I do find that I struggle with probably eating carbs a little bit too much, because even with my lunch on Saturday, I had a cream cheese bagel, like veggie sandwich kind of thing, years ago when I worked at this like coffee shop called Tim Hortons. If you live in Canada, you know. Maybe if you live in the US, you know. I don't know. I think they have some locations out there. But they used to have this thing called the veggie sandwich, which was cream cheese, lettuce, cucumber, and tomato. So I fell in love with that sandwich, and I haven't had it in years. My boyfriend surprised me with a poppy seed bagel from a bakery on Father's Day, which I thought was really sweet. And yeah, I decided to make myself a veggie sandwich for lunch, and then I had some grapes on the side. So I think it was like a pretty okay meal. I'm trying to like think like with weight loss, like I don't have to just eat strict, you know, skinless chicken breast and, you know, unseasoned plain vegetables. it's okay to eat certain foods because I want this to be like something that is going to be sustainable, something that is going to be somewhat enjoyable and stuff. So, but I do struggle a lot in my head with feeling guilty about some of my food choices, because it's like, well, if I enjoy this, or it's got cream cheese, or it's a bagel, you know, it's a lot of carbs and bread, and my brain just immediately goes to like, this is not weight loss food, this is why you're not losing weight. But I think you can have those things and still lose weight. The issues are the things like later on in the evening when we had pizza again, because my boyfriend requested pizza for his Father's Day meal. And I could have easily just been like, okay, yeah, you guys eat pizza and I will make myself something that is more weight loss friendly since I already had pizza yesterday. But no, I was in a crap mood and I didn't want to make anything. So I was like, well, pizza's here, I'll have some pizza. And I think I handled it well because I only had 2 slices of pizza. So it's not like I overdid it. I didn't overeat, but I mean, still pizza 2 days in a row. I don't know, maybe that was the wrong decision to make. But then I followed it up with having some ice cream, because of course my boyfriend loves ice cream. It's one of his favorite foods. I think if not his favorite food is ice cream. So when we had ice cream after dinner, I did take part. I had 2 scoops, like 2 like average size scoops, I guess you could say, of this like pistachio ice cream, and then 2 scoops of this lemon twist vanilla. Like it was like a sherbet ice cream mix. So good, so refreshing. Highly recommend it if you've never tried it before. The Irresistibles brand at Food Basics. Very good, but not very good for weight loss, right? So, and that's the kind of things that I end up shaking my head about, like afterwards. I mean, like, why did you do that? You should have just had like 1 scoop or like a half scoop of each instead of 2 scoops of each. But I am doing better than I was, I think. This weekend went better than my previous 2 weekends. And I'm trying to give myself grace. I keep saying that. But as I'm saying I'm trying to give myself grace, I, at the same time, am not really giving myself grace, because I am constantly yelling at myself in my head about all the things that I should not have done and the things that I should have done instead. Like, I was supposed to go for a walk on Sunday with my daughter, but because of where I was in, like, mentally and stuff, it just didn't happen. I had no patience. And I knew that going for a walk with her wouldn't be the best idea when I'm already feeling super irritable, because I want our walks together to be enjoyable for both of us. And I just knew that wasn't going to be the case yesterday, so we did not end up going for our walk, unfortunately. But then I think, like, if I did go for the walk, would I have felt better? Because sometimes getting out and burning off the energy, because I was feeling a mixture of tiredness and like adrenaline in my chest. Like, I was very fidgety and I felt like I needed to move, but I was also exhausted at the same time. So it was a really weird combination, but maybe going out for a walk would have helped that. So I don't know, can't do anything about it now, but we're in a new week now, and it is Monday as I'm filming this right now. So it is weigh-in day. I did already weigh myself today, because I always try and weigh myself in the morning after, you know, you do all your business and stuff, so that it's like as dry weight as I can possibly get, because I want to see the lowest possible number on the scale each week, just for my own, I don't know, happiness and joy factor, seeing the scale. So one thing I can say is that even though I didn't lose 2 pounds this week, I'll put it on the screen now, I weighed in at 246.5, which is finally under that 247 that I have been weighing in consistently for the last few weeks. Other than during the week. During the week, I always somehow lose like 2 or 3 pounds, but it's always like water weight, something like that. I don't know. But, and then by the time official weigh-in day comes, it's like, JK, you're back up to, I just said JK. Wow. Anyways, you're back up to 247.4. And then it's just like, seriously? But when I weighed myself this morning, I was 246.5. So that was really, really encouraging to see. Just like even something, a pound less than what I was before is like, okay. At least there is some sort of progress being made, because it is really discouraging to step on the scale every week and have it not change. I mean, it's better than it going up for sure, but I want to lose weight. And at my size, I should be able to lose weight a little bit faster. You know, they say like the bigger you are, the faster you lose, like the beginning of your weight kind of, it comes off faster, right? Oh, I don't know. So I must be doing something wrong, obviously. Probably not drinking enough water, so my body might be holding on to more water. Funny how that works. And giving in to certain foods. Letting myself get to a point of feeling like just beyond full. You know that feeling when you get where you're like, okay, I ate, I don't feel hungry anymore, I'm satisfied. But then if you eat more, you start to feel that kind of like verging on uncomfortable feeling in your stomach. I'm like, oh, I'm not so full that I'm about to burst, but like I've definitely eaten past where I needed to. So, and that happens a little bit more frequently than it probably should, especially at night. And so yeah, there's definitely lots of room for improvement going forward, but I'm going to try and get a little bit more, I don't want to say strict, but like a little bit more, I want to like weigh out my food and track everything. It's been really hard for me to want to track things just because it feels like so much effort, because tracking your food in general, having to write everything down and then tell you the calories so that you can add it up at the end of the day to make sure you're staying on track is already enough. Then to have to add math into it, to figure out, okay, well, I ate this much, so it's this many calories. Like, I'm just going to ask AI. You do the math for me, AI, because that's what you're here for. Think for me. That's terrible. But yeah, it'll help me to actually be able to track my calories. So whatever is going to get the job done, I'm gonna do whatever is going to make it easier for me, because I don't need to make things more difficult and then just not do them. So, but I am feeling good about going forward on my weight loss journey. I feel like I have new things that I'm going to implement to help me actually get to my goal of losing 2 pounds per week, and tracking should be a huge help with that, so that I can be a little bit more accountable and know exactly what I'm putting in my body. So yeah, I think that'll be helpful. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye.